and welcome. I'm Akram Tag of Birth, and you're watching Akram's Ideas. Bring creative and crazy ideas to life. If you caught the last episode of Akram's Ideas, I mentioned that I recently had a pattern haul to share with you. A very, very large pattern haul. So, in the previous episode, I talked about the Sew Fearless Challenge and what I planned to make for that challenge. And it was a pattern, McCalls 3560, which is this pattern here. And this came from a pattern haul that I picked up during Valentine's weekend. And then the following weekend, there were also some other patterns on sale. So I'm going to kind of just share with you the patterns that I picked up in the last 2 weeks now. So we'll start with the newer patterns, and then we'll get into some of the vintage patterns that I picked up. So back on Valentine's weekend, my husband took me out and about for Valentine's, and we went to a vintage fair that was going on. We hit some antique stores, and then Joann's was also having a Simplicity $1.99 pattern sale. So with that said, we hit Joann's first, obviously, and I picked up some Simplicity patterns. Now, at the time, it was still very cold on Valentine's weekend, and it's slowly getting warmer here. We're seeing some more days that are up in the 60s, and then it'll drop back down. But I was really wanting to pick up some patterns for knit fabrics. I've been following Sean from Kittenish Behavior, and she's been sewing up a bunch of knit projects, and I have a lot of knit fabric, and I don't have a lot of winter appropriate clothes, me-made clothes in my wardrobe. So I wanted to try to pick up some patterns that were specifically for knit projects. The first one here, this pattern here, 8982, has the dress, the shirt, and the pencil skirt. And one of the things that really sold me was View C, which is what the model is wearing, and those amazing sleeves. I just adore this. I think the sleeves will be really lovely. And I believe Josie who has a sewing YouTube channel, made this garment up in a purple jersey, and it is just beautiful. I'll try to put a link to her channel in the description below because she made a beautiful version. The next one that I picked up was the Sew House 7 sort of toaster version for Simplicity pattern. Now, I have the original toaster pattern from Sew House 7. I love that pattern. I've made several of those. But I picked this one up specifically for View D here. Or C? No, it's View D. Which is a sweatshirt. And I needed a pattern for some sweatshirting fleece that I have. It doesn't have a lot of stretch, so I didn't want to use just a regular knit pattern. And I picked this one up so that I could attempt to make that top. Another jersey pattern. This one is really nice. It's a batwing dress, and again, View C has some really lovely sleeves as well as View D. The dress is okay. There's not much shaping to it, but I think if you were to just cut it off right here, I think if you were just to cut it off and make it a top, it'd look even better. But I did like the bat wings on that top. Whenever there's a pattern sale, I try to get the vintage pattern. So this is a re-release of a 1940s top. This is 8736. And the, I really like these. I really like View D here. I think that's really cute with the cap sleeves. And I don't know when I'll get to making these, but I really like the style of those. Another vintage pattern that was out there was this 1950s vintage pattern. This is 89 This is $89.80. I like the detailing on the dress. It's got some interesting like French darts going down both the back and the front, and then it comes with that swing coat. So it's a very interesting pattern. I don't know when I'll get to any of these really, but I wanted to have it in my stash. Now, one of the things that I was really wanting to make is a jersey dress. I have a lot of ready-to-wear jersey dresses, and I wanted to make some of my own, and I've only had a few and they weren't very successful. So I picked up Simplicity 8874, which is a simple jersey dress, and I got it for a couple of reasons. I have the Minetta dress pattern from, is it Seamwork or Colette? It's one of those two. And I've made it before, and I really like the Minetta, but I'm not fond of the gathered skirt on the Minetta. And this one had more of just a full circle skirt, no gathers. So I was really interested in making some sort of jersey dress that had a full skirt, but not gathered. This pattern, I wasn't so sure of because I don't really like the higher neckline. I'm not sold on the semi-square neckline just as yet, and it didn't have long sleeves, which is really what I was hoping to make, was a long sleeves jersey dress. But I got it because I wanted to make this, and I wanted to make a jersey dress, and this was on sale. So I brought it home and I traced out the pattern. The very next weekend, the weekend after, McCalls patterns went on sale for $1.99. So I ended up rushing out and buying those. And in response to, even though I wanted to make this, I hadn't started and it wasn't quite what I wanted. So I went and picked up McCalls 7313, and this was exactly what I wanted. It has the long sleeves, it's got a slightly more bow neck, it's still a scoop neck. Actually the boat neck is this version here is more of a scoop neck, but not like a square, not as deep. And I was just really interested in making this one first. So I'm gonna try to like battle it out between the two patterns and see which one I like best. I'm gonna make both of them. So I'm gonna start with this one and then I'm gonna try to make that one. They're on my cutting table right now, but I don't know when I'll get them finished. But I'm gonna try to see which one I like better, because I'm trying to find the perfect jersey dress pattern, and I really prefer to have one with a waist seam. I love the Coco dress from Tilly and the Buttons. I've made a couple of those now. I wear them with a belt, and I just wish it had like a seam in there and a slightly fuller skirt, and that's what those patterns are meant to add to my wardrobe. So we'll see which one turns out the better. Again, I'm trying to sew with the jersey, and I'm trying to find the perfect t-shirt pattern, which I have yet to find. I recently made this up on a few weekends ago. This is the Shona top from Athena Cuckoo Patterns, and I'm not sold on it. I'm not sure. I'm trying to find the perfect neckline, and I'm not sure that this is the perfect neckline for me. I really like the Uvita top from Itch to Stitch. I love that sort of boat neck slash neck top. The only downside is that I think sometimes you don't always want that drop shoulder. You want a set-in sleeve occasionally. I feel like set-in sleeves are easier if you want to put like a jacket or a cardigan over it, and sometimes the drop shoulder has a lot of excess fabric that can be bulky. I don't know, maybe that's just me. So this top, I'm not impressed with it. I even thought it may have been a little too tight when I first sewed it up. After wearing it a couple of times, it's not bad. I don't know. I haven't decided whether I like it as much as the Uvita top. But I'm trying to branch out and find more tops that will suit my needs, which is why I picked up a McCalls 7322. So this again is just a t-shirt with various sleeve lengths and a few different collar lengths. I really am eager to try view F and E because it's got more of that boat neck. But you know, view B here looks pretty nice as well. So I'm hoping that this pattern will do good for me. The next one I got was one of the newer McCalls patterns with the new styling. This is the Nora dress, or 8064, and I got this one sort of on a whim. It's very similar, in my opinion, to the Cocoa dress from Sailing the Buttons, but I think it has a slightly fuller skirt. It has various lengths of skirts, and it also has a V-neck option, as well as different sleeve lengths, such as the short sleeve and the neckband option. So it's slightly different, same style of dress, I guess you could say, but I thought that may be an option to try. Again, I'm trying to find the perfect jersey dress. Another one that I picked up with a jersey pattern was McCall's 6963 here. This is for a cowl neck top. I have a lot of ready-to-wear tops, like View A here, that I wear underneath my blazers, and I thought, you know what, I just need to make some of my own, and I'm hoping this will be the perfect one. I really like the look of it, and we'll see how that one turns out. Along the same lines, I have a lot of store-bought knit tank tops that I wear under garments, and I picked up McCall's 7386 to try to make my own, obviously. And this one also has a skirt that goes with it. It's more of like a fluted skirt versus a pencil skirt, and it has the option to also make the tank top as a full-on dress, which might be fun for summer. The next two McCall patterns were completely on my list because of Emily Hallman from Emily Hallman Designs. She made 7907 a while back, and I had it on my McCall's pattern want list for a while, and she made version D. I think she even made it in the exact same pink, and I absolutely love those pants. And I think I might even make pink ones as well, because I think I have some pink fabric in my stash, but I think those look amazing. I don't really care for any of the other views except for version D, but I think that one would be really fun. So this is 7907. Another one that Emily Hallman has made a couple of times now is 7627. This is just a wrap top or wrap dress. I have a lot of wrapped dresses in my stash. I don't really need another one, but like I said, Emily Hallman has made this particular one several times, and I just love the look of it. So I went ahead and bought this one just to have in my stash so that I could eventually whip out. So another one that I picked up was 7092. So this is another knit top. It's got a faux wrap and an empire waist. And I have a couple of dresses, ready-to-wear dresses in my wardrobe that are very, very similar to this. And
To see more episodes like this, be sure to click the like button, subscribe to Akram's Ideas, and hit the bell icon to get notified of new episodes.
I kind of live in all these kind of ready-to-wear jersey dresses during the winter, and I wanted to make my own. And so because it's so similar to this, I thought I'd go ahead and pick up this pattern and try making my own kind of out of a lightweight jersey. Along the same lines, I really like the style of a wrap dress. I don't always like the tie part of it and the concern that it's going to open up and everything, but I think it is very wearable in a professional setting if it's the right type of wrap dress. And that is why I picked up McCall's 7116. It has that wrap front top there that has a lot of gathering, and I think it'll be easy to fit around the bust, and it's got a slight empire waist. I'm not so sure how that's going to look on me, but View D, which is the one that the model's wearing, I absolutely love. And this one is actually for woven fabrics, and I have a lot of lightweight cotton that I think might work for this pattern. I might even be able to make it out of some of the lightweight knits that I have and just size down. But I really like how it has a slight vintage look to it, which of course is why I went ahead and purchased McCalls 7433. This is a vintage archive dress pattern. It's been on my want list for a while. It's a shirtwaist dress with a back yoke and shoulder gathers. It's kind of got a somewhat of a loose fit to it, but it's got a belt that goes with it. I really, really love, especially like on the contrasting on the red one here. I think this one, even though it's a vintage pattern, I think it's very, very wearable. And I think if I make a couple of these, I could wear them all year round. I'm really interested in the long sleeve version as well, so that I could get more wear out of it during the cooler months. Now, let's see, the next one that I have is McCalls 7875. Now, this one is kind of an oddity. I normally wouldn't buy like a sort of a pajama robe set, but for a long time now, in my stash, I've had this beautiful poinsettia fleece that I've been wanting to make sort of a Christmas robe out of, and I've been looking for the perfect robe pattern. I've got some vintage ones, but with the vintage patterns, I have to do a lot of tweaking on the sizing, and then the chances that it doesn't fit. So it's on a modern pattern, which I'm more familiar with the sizing. In McCalls patterns and simplicity, I can pretty much cut a straight 16 and maybe bring it in or out a little bit on the side seams, and it works perfectly. So I figured I could try to use this pattern for that robe, especially View C is exactly why I bought it. And I want to do the piping and everything. So I think this will be a beautiful Christmas robe. It's not happening anytime soon, but that's why I purchased that one. And then the last one I had on my list was the Live shirt, which is one of the newer patterns that they've released. And they didn't have it in my size range. They only had the smaller size range. I went to 2 different Joann's and they didn't have it. So I finally settled on getting the Alexis shirt dress, which is 8031 here. And it's similar. It's similar to the Live top. I think the Live top has more of a grown-on sleeve to it, or maybe it doesn't. I think it has a wider sleeve and maybe a slightly wider collar. But I thought this is close enough to what I wanted. I really want, you know, a nice sort of 1940s style button-down shirt, and this one kind of fits the bill. I can wear it as a short dress like the pattern calls for, or I could cut it up a little bit higher and make it a blouse. I like the different sleeve options on this one. I probably will never wear it with the breast pockets. It's probably not me. And if I were to make it up, I don't know, I probably always wear it with a belt just to have that shaping. But I do like the style of it, and I'll probably try making it as a top first. So those were all the newer patterns that I picked up. And like I said, this whole pattern haul came about because there was a vintage fair going on Valentine's weekend, and we decided to hit the fair, and we hit a couple of antique stores along the way. So obviously, like I said, I picked up 3560, which is the Stitch and Save McCalls pattern, which I'll be using for the So Fearless Challenge. I'll put the link in the iCard over here for you to catch that episode. If you haven't heard about the So Fearless Challenge, we encourage you to participate and sew up those garments that you have been afraid to make, like in my case, a blazer. But there was a whole stack here of vintage patterns that I also picked up. And this one is Simplicity 3153. This one's slightly small for me. It's got a 36 bust, which is a little small, but I couldn't resist. I really like that collar detail right there. I think it's very interesting, so I picked that one up. Simplicity 7349 is, again, a little small, but I really liked just the style of this dress. The princess themes along with that blazer I think looks really nice. I think it'll look nice in like a broadcloth or maybe a twill or linen. Again, I don't really have plans to make any of these at any time soon. The next one is Simplicity 5782. This one has sort of an office attire with the jacket. I really like the tie on the blouse on this one. I think it's really nice. I got some of these mail order patterns. This is, what is it? These Ann Adam patterns. This is $49.60 right here. And it is it's just kind of a wrap front dress. Kind of nice. This is very similar. This is $90.88. Another Ann Adams. And this one, is just got sort of a different color. This one's got more of a shawl color on it. The next batch of patterns are kind of from the 80s, 90s. This one here is Simplicity 8620. I kind of like the look of it. This is actually a full-on dress. It looks like a jacket and a skirt, but it is a mock wrap dress with an elasticated waist. So I thought that was kind of interesting, the style of that. This one is $56.48. It's a blouse, a sort of a peasant-y blouse, kind of western theme. I really like the skirt and the belt that goes with the skirt. I think this is kind of something fun to wear if you're going to like a Renaissance festival or some sort of outdoor festival. I think I would make something up like this, and that is why I picked this one up. Speaking of that Live shirt that I really wanted from McCalls, this one is kind of like the 80s version of that, 74-47. This is a Simplicity pattern, and it has like the wider sleeve. These are actually more extreme wider than what the Live shirt was, but it's got the wide sleeve, the big collar, and I really like this. And I think it was Whitney from Tomcat Stitchery who had a vintage pattern haul recently as well, who was saying something like this would be so Nancy from Stranger Things, and that's true. This would be. But I absolutely really love that. This pattern, this one is probably from the 90s. Does it say on here? It does not say. Oh, yes, it does. 1995. So this is McCalls 7837, and the reason I got this was these massive collars. It's a very kind of 40s, 1930s style collars, and I thought that would give it just a very vintage feel, and I was really interested in that. This Business Women's McCalls Nancy Zimmerman pattern 6130 here has some interesting details. It's got an elasticated waist on this pattern, and you can make it as a full dress or as a two-piece. So I thought that one was kind of versatile. I'm trying to get more tops in my pattern collection. I have a lot of dresses, and I find that I wear more tops, especially in the wintertime. And I picked up McCalls 8466. Which was a top pattern. I really like View D here. I think it's the sleeves that are selling it on me. I also kind of like the interesting sort of Peter Pan Mandarin collar type style. It's something different, and I think that is interesting. This one here is Simplicity 9423. This one is the late 70s, early 80s, 1980. And it's a pullover dress. What I like about this is how different the two views look depending on how you make it. So this obviously is with a thicker fabric and made more as a jumper, and then this one here is more of a lightweight cotton, sort of a summer dress. So you have some versatility with how you do that one. This one is Buttrick 4727. This one has so many great details on it. I absolutely love all the gathering at the yoke, but this interesting pleat at the back skirt. It is a shirt dress. I love the color as well. I think it gives it a little bit of a 40s feel to it. You know, it was very 1980s, those 40s styling back then, and I think this really has a lot of interesting details. Speaking of interesting details, I picked up this one, Simplicity 8555, because of the panels on the skirt there. You can see that you can make it with some contrast, and you can really play up the skirt. So this is actually a two-piece, so it is a shirt and a skirt, so you can also get more versatility out of that as well. And this is an 80s pattern. This is 1988 on the back of this one. And again, trying to find my perfect t-shirt pattern, I found this 2-hour top Simplicity 9086 pattern. So this top here is not exactly a t-shirt, as it takes woven fabrics, but it has some nice styling to it, and I think it might be a good contender, especially since I have a lot of like quilting cotton that might work for some looser fitting tops like this. So that was the bulk of my recent pattern haul. I have some idea of what I want to do with some of these. Some of these I just got because the patterns were too amazing to let slip by. I'd love to hear in the comments what you thought of all these patterns. If you have any ideas or suggestions about what I should make with any of these, again, I'd love to hear them in the comments below. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Akram's Ideas, and thanks for watching.
Large pattern haul. Let me do that again. Simplicity 8982. Yes, 8982. And crazy ideas to life. If you catch